Before we get started on today's replay, I wanted to congratulate the Ed on winning my 3000 gold contest. I had a lot of great feedback over the course of this contest, and I had a really hard time picking the winner, but the Ed ultimately won out because he spent so much time breaking down my replays and critiquing as to what he really liked, where it helped him improve his gameplay, and what he thought I could improve on, which ultimately formed my channel to what it is right now. So the Ed, thank you so much for your contribution, and I hope you are able to critique my work in the future as well. Hello fellow tankers, this is Dauntless, and today I'm going to be playing in my Tier 8 Chinese Premium Medium tank, the 59 Patton. Now, the 59 Patton is a unique animal. It's almost like a Frankenstein in a sense, where it has the turret of the M48 Patton and the hull of the Type 59. Thus the name the 59 Patton. It's really ugly if you ask me, but I have kind of a fetish for Chinese vehicles, and when Wargaming offered it, I had to buy it. And when I took it out for a spin, I regretted it immediately. If this tank got preferred matchmaking, it would be somewhat competitive, I suppose, but the gun only has 175 penetration, and it only had 370 view range. With this giant tumor it has growing out of its head, you would think it could spot better than an IS-6, but it couldn't. And guess what? It has 175 pen, which is the same as an IS-6. Imagine taking the IS-6 with a 60mm weak spot on top and not very good maneuverability into a battle against E-100s. You would probably quit. And that is exactly what I did with this vehicle. I played about 100 games in it, and I said, you know what, screw it. This is a horrible tank. I think Wargaming kind of regretted selling such an underwhelming vehicle, and very recently they increased the penetration of this gun up to 191mm. Now, while this isn't the best for a Tier 8 vehicle, it certainly is a lot better than 175. Furthermore, what makes this vehicle unique is the increase in view range from 370 meters to 400 meters. 400 meters is quite a lot of view range for a Tier 8 premium vehicle. This is actually one of the highest view ranges at Tier 8 in the game, which, you know, there is a huge price to be paid for that view range, but ultimately I think it does make it worth it, especially when you're running optics, recon, and situational awareness, where you can easily get beyond the max spotting distance in the game and really go to work on your enemies. So we'll jump into some pregame analysis here, and using XVM, both teams look pretty bad. But honestly, these are the kind of games I actually enjoy because I know that I'll be able to have a decent outcome on the match. I'll be able to have, you know, really good games when the matchmaking is this bad. So I really do enjoy it when both teams are equally bad, because it's no fun when one team just completely dominates another, or you're the one being dominated, and it just ends in disappointment. But in these situations, it really is up to the good players to really carry their team, because it really is kind of 50-50 on whether you're going to win or lose. So again, using XVM, their team has relatively weak players. There are two decent players are in TDs, and TDs on this map usually camp in this area. Sometimes they do like to hide on this ridge and shoot down at tanks pushing into the boot, but ultimately, for what I'm going to do in this game, I just have to keep in the back of my mind that they could potentially be shooting at me, and just like artillery, you know, just keep that in the back of your mind. As well, in terms of their vehicle lineup, they have a couple heavy tanks and a medium tank. In my mind, the medium tank would push this line, while the heavy tanks would go down into the boot. Our team has two heavy tanks, so the way I figured it, the heavy tanks would kind of cancel themselves out in the boot, and I would have a nice easy time engaging the medium tank and probably some of these smaller medium tanks on the one line. So that is ultimately what I decided to do. Artillery isn't really a factor just because the player is not very good. The S51 takes an hour to aim, and at that range he's probably not going to be able to hit me, and if he does, I'll just blame RNG. So like I said, I'm going to be pushing the one line. My goal is to be very aggressive and try to get some early lights at the beginning. Like I said, this tank has very good view range, especially with the crew and the equipment I'm running, and that will allow me to get some early lights. This Cromwell B and the Skoda T25 ahead of me kind of are doing what I wanted to do, and they are actually getting, actually they're not getting lights. It's our 112 that I really wanted to go to the boot, just kind of pushing in really aggressive. Before I have a chance to push ahead, I spot a Cromwell, and I thought that shot would go in, but I didn't lead enough, I don't think, and I ended up shooting behind him. And I'm going to try to get a shot into its track, which I failed to do. I tried to go for another track. I do aim a little bit low, time it. Again, no track shot there. It really is important to try to go out of your way to hit those track shots. You know, just at least go for it. A lot of the time it's not going to go in, but when it does, it will improve the results of the engagement. Hit the hill there, really unfortunate, but I was not able to finish off this Cromwell. Goofed that shot, he backed up right when I fired. But I'm going to pause the game here really quick, and I have not pushed up with this M4. And you might ask, well, why, Dauntless? I thought you were going to be aggressive on this flank. Well, the truth be told, that comment kind of distracted me, and I didn't want to push up too aggressive because all of a sudden, if I'm dealing with a comet and I have my turret turned sideways, and let's say they had that FV4202 just pop right here and engage me, I would be putting myself into a bad situation. He could come over the top, track me, that's when artillery could hit me, and things could go south very quickly. So I decide to stay back, and I'm kind of utilizing this giant boulder right here to protect myself from artillery. I see a Hellcat that's lit, and I get a little bit greedy here. I don't think, okay, nothing's going to really hit me. The tank destroyers on their base are very occupied, and I wanted to try to get an easy shot to this Hellcat. I didn't lead him enough, however. I didn't think he was going to be moving, and I goofed. Critical hit, Hellcat, really unfortunate. I did bounce a shot there from a couple tanks. Now, again, I'm going to pause the game really quick here, and I want you to take a look at the map. This is where a lot of players end up messing up because they're so focused on what's going on this flank right now that they don't really stop and think, I wonder what's going on. I make the map this huge because I want it to be right in my face, and even then sometimes I forget to look at it. But from this freeze point, you'll notice that there's a T-34 here and a couple other tanks. The Tiger 2 is flanking, or the Tiger 1 is flanking, and we have an M4 here. If I was aggressive, I could easily farm 1,000 damage right here, take out some tanks, and completely win the one line. But by the time I win the one line, you have to ask yourself what could potentially be happening here, because the FV4202 and the IS-6 are being very aggressive on this boot. So I'm going to just play the game again. Now I'm kind of contemplating, like, okay, I should push and get some damage. What should I be doing? And I think around this point I realize what's going on the map. I think about pushing forward, but I'm like, crap, I need to go back. And it's the right call to make. The reason going back right now is so important, while I could be back on the one line fighting, notice how slow this vehicle is. I need to get a head start. And if you ever see tanks pushing the boot and coming into your base, you'll know how difficult it is to actually defend your base if you're sitting right back here. Because one, you can't light them very well, and two, if you look up ahead here, there is a little bit of a dip, and if they get onto your cap, it can be near impossible to hit them or light them. So two things went through my mind. One, I need to protect artillery because this is going to be a huge factor in winning this. Two, I need to get back and above on this side of the tracks, because unless I'm on this side of the tracks, I'll have a much harder time defending the base. And you can see the red players all going towards their cap. They have no care that there are two tier 8 vehicles that are about to capture our base. I go for a track shot here and try to pin him. Unfortunately, my cupola is very high and he's able to hit it. I push up ahead, go for another tracking shot, track him. He uses his repair kit and he pushes forward. Now because I was here, I was able to finish off that IS-6 with the help of artillery. It's kind of an I scratch your back, you scratch mine scenario where our artillery was able to help me because I was helping them stay alive. And if you do protect your artillery, it will give you an advantage towards the end of the game when the other opponent's artillery are also in the game. I kind of goofed here and I ran right into the wreckage of that IS-6. But again, I want to point out something really quick. I'm on 296 HP. The FV4202 is on 974 HP. I will have to hit him at least 4 times if I want to kill him. He, on the other hand, will have to hit me once with a high roll and I will be done. What would you do in this scenario? The first thing you'll notice is that we do have 2 artillery that are most likely reloaded by now. If he pushes up against this rock, it will be hard for artillery to hit him. So the best thing you can do is to try to get him to drive over in this area to expose himself to the artillery that are most likely pre-aimed right here. My best chance of survival without taking damage is to try to side scrape this rock and force him to come around to shoot me in the side. Little bit of a misplay here. He does come around like I planned. I tried to go for a track shot, wasn't able to track him, but fortunately artillery is able to take him out here. And those are the moments that you actually have to make a split choice decision where as you have to think, okay, he has an advantage over me in terms of HP. I have an advantage over him in terms of support. How am I going to win this engagement? And the more you play this game, you will really think, you will really start to make those snap decisions very quickly. But facing 2 tier 8 vehicles with my very low health, I was able to take both of them out with the help of my artillery. So wrapping things up with this game, the enemies don't have a lot of vehicles left, but they do have 3 tank destroyers, 2 of them which are very competent players. I spot the artillery. Actually, I don't think I spot him. The Cromwell that's yellow in their base spots the artillery, and I sit here trying to make a few shots in. This gun, you'll notice, is not the most accurate at this range. This is shooting at, I think, about 550 meters, and with the gun's .36 accuracy, I am not able to hit him very often. I loaded into HE because I thought I could maybe do full damage with my HE rounds. I think my damage is 320, so not a whole lot better than 250, but I thought, hey, if I can put a nice big hit into him, that would be awesome. But I only critical hit him for like 90 damage, or 60 damage actually. So here the FV gets lit. Now this is probably me lighting him, but I'm able to take him out. This eliminates a lot of the RNG in the game, and there are 3 TDs left. I'm only on 30 HP, so I'm going to sit back on this rock and allow our 112 to take the aggro. The 112, as you saw in my replay, has extremely good frontal armor, and I figured that he could probably take a hit anyway, and I let him be aggressive, and 1 player down. That was a very good ISU driver, and I'm really surprised that he YOLO'd in like that. If he had played more defensively, he would have had a higher chance of winning. If I was playing on that side of the map with that vehicle, I would probably be hiding in this area right here and force them to come to the cap and then pop out and surprise them. So now there are 2 vehicles remaining on the enemy base. This vehicle right here has extremely good gun depression, so believe it or not, he could probably hit me from there if he wanted to. I'm able to put 1 shot into him, finally, with this horrible accuracy, and he is taken out by our 112. Now at the end of the game, the E25 was last lit on J4. What's going through my mind right now is, okay, he's probably going to be killed by our heavy tank or our M4, but if I was that E25 player, I would go for Artie, because he knows that his chances of winning are extremely small, and because of his fast maneuverability, he would be able to outrun everything on our team and get there and at least take out artillery and possibly jump on cap and, you know, turn the tide in his favor, or at least farm some more experience. So because of his speed and the fact that he wasn't lit for a while, I assumed that he would be following this trail and push all the way around to go for Artie. And because of that, I totally goofed here and got killed. He made a sneaky choice of hiding in that bush, and Fortunately, artillery was able to just nuke him right here. Awesome shot by artillery. Great job, Fury Atomic. That pretty much saved us the game right there, I think, if our team wasn't able to win. So I want to just do a quick recap right there. This video was mainly focused on my channel because I wanted to show map awareness. A lot of tankers out there just kind of get into this mode where I think, okay, I'm going to start here, I'm in a heavy tank, so I'm going to push to point A. Once I take point A, I'm going to push to the base. Or alternatively, you'll have a medium tank player coming over to C1 and thinking, oh, I just won this flank, let's push out, and just get destroyed by tank destroyers or arty as they push down this open road. And because of that, a lot of players, once you get a heavy tank or something up into here, if our base is being captured by medium tanks that successfully took the north, it will take you far too long to go back, and by then the game is going to be won. Just the same with medium tanks. If you're pushing into this area and you're pinned down by tank destroyers, you get heavy tanks pushing back into here, it's too late, game over, you lose. If I hadn't have turned around when I was in the situation and gone back, saved artillery, and taken out those two vehicles, we would have 100% lost this game. I'm almost certain of it. Those two tier 8s would have killed our arty, and they would have captured the base, and it would have been over. So it is extremely important to look at the map and make that decision before you think you actually even have to go back. Don't think, oh, I'll go back if they really need me, or wait until our artillery die or before they start capping. If you're in a slower vehicle, you have to make that decision ahead of time. You have to think, okay, they just took the boot, they're probably going to be on our cap soon, I have to turn back now. Because if I had turned back by the time our artillery was killed and their IS-6 was capping, and I pushed over to this M40 was, trying to get shots in, I could have been hit by their TDs, I could have been hit by their artillery, and I would have been killed by both of them eventually because of the tumor on my vehicle. But because I was able to push into this little null and let our artillery work on them while I played Ring Around the Rosie with them, we ultimately won this game. So hopefully that video was entertaining to watch. If you liked it, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I'm really going for some high subscribers here. I'm actually going to be hosting a contest where once I hit 500 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away a premium tank of the winner's choice. And that contest will be posted in the forums if you check it out. And if you really like this video, go ahead and like my Facebook page as well as follow me on Twitter, and I will be putting the details there about the contest. So hopefully you guys liked it, and I will talk to you guys later.